Hello there, Flip here, and today we're going to be doing something a bit different. So we've had Genshin Court, and now let me introduce you to Genshin Therapy. Basically, it's a glorified account review. A lot of my viewers and people in my server do ask me for advice on Spiral Abyss, and advice on team building, etc. So I decided that since I do Spiral Abyss for my friends regardless, I may as well make content out of it. So how this will work is that I'll choose a person that can't clear the Abyss to message me on Discord asking for a session, and then I'll send out a form to them that they will fill out. You will see that form shortly, and then from there, I will organize a Discord voice call with them and they will tell me their problems with clearing and a general idea with what they want me to do with their account, and I will then log onto their account from there and help them clear. I'm in full belief that anyone with 8 decently built characters that synergize well should be able to clear the Abyss without a lot of skill needed, and most of the time the issue isn't characters but just not knowing proper rotations or how to build teams. But for future reference, so I don't get applications from AR30 players, the requirements for a session are the following. And now, with that out of the way, we can now carry on with a therapy session conducted by a specialist, me, and I hope you enjoy. Welcome, Gold. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine.
So, I'm reading your summary and it seems you can't 36-star Abyss. Currently, at least. So what seems to be the issue?
I think there's a lot of annoying mechanics that requires a lot of positioning, and the enemies this time are either annoying with their attack patterns or features, or they are just too damn tanky for some of my teams.
I see. So are you saying this is a damage issue or a skill issue?
Might be both somewhere along the line.
So, who do you main?
Well, I mostly use Noelle, but
Huh.
since 3.0, I've been using Tignari and now Nahida as an on-field Hyper Bloom.
I see, interesting. So you're telling me you're playing one of the best single target teams in the game and you can't clear.
Yes,
So do you give me full permission to change the builds on your account?
sure, why not? I mean, I think there's a bunch of 20 artifacts that I haven't thrown away and they might be useful for some characters there.
Understood. Thank you. And I will be doing a checkup on your account to see if there's any more issues I can identify, and you will be receiving an update very shortly. Thank you for your time.
Alright.
Are you not gonna say goodbye? Thank you?
Alright, thank you. um,
Are you laughing in this interview, sir?
I'm sorry,
Thank you. It's okay.
it was just sudden. Okay.
Mhm. Alright then, I will be seeing you soon. Goodbye and take care.
Alright.
Not gonna wish me a good day? Not gonna wish me luck?
I'm pretty sure you already know. Um, it's nighttime for me, so I'm gonna say good night,
Alright?
and I guess good luck because I'm not too sure of what's gonna happen soon.
Are you underestimating my skill, sir?
No, it's not your skill. It's mainly the account itself because it's not really the typical account usually. But yeah, Cookie is built since it's easy to build her because you just put EM on her.
Right, understood. Well, good night and take care.
All right.
Are you not going to say it back?
Good night.
And you're laughing! So hi, we are now in the practical session. The first thing I want to do is come up with 2 teams. In the first half, you need strong single target characters that are also quite good in multi-wave, and a bow unit to shoot down the best designed boss in the game. My first choice was going to be I Aggravate, but then I remembered the Rift Hounds, so I decided to go with Hyper Bloom Kuki instead. My patient did say they were leaning into building teams like this, so I could also demonstrate to them how to clear with it. And now that I have the first team I want to run, I decided to go check the builds of the characters starting with Nahida. I wanted to use Woodzith and maybe swap to an EM Circlet and... no. The build they had their Nahida on was already good, so I didn't need to change anything. Talents are also fine too, nothing really needs to be changed. So let's go over to Jingcho. Stats look fine and... I almost vomited. Let's give the femboy an actual weapon because the sacrificial sword for Jingcho before Refinement 3 is not a weapon. I already risk 50/50s on the weapon banner, I don't want Gacha involved with my runs either. But yeah, I really didn't need to change around artifacts as Jingcho looks fine, good crit ratio, low attack from Fav, which checks out, but it's fine so the twink was finished. And now, if I were to say what I originally thought when I was live on this account, it would not be allowed on YouTube. I can see why my patient can't clear now. Anyways, stick with me as I correct this monstrosity. And now Fischl is actually a character. There wasn't a full Thundering Fury set I could use, so I decided to just go and build Gilded on her, as you know what? I lied to you guys. This is not a Hyper Bloom team. It's a Quick Bloom team. Fischl and Nahida will be able to aggravate and spread some of their hits here, as Jingcho can instantly swallow all the Quicken aura. So building some EM on Fischl here isn't a waste. I should also probably explain this team more in depth before moving on to check Kuki's build. With Hyper Bloom you need a Dendro unit, a Hydro unit, and a character that will be able to apply Electro to trigger the seeds. And then basically a sort of flexible slot. Kuki here is the Electro who's triggering, and the reason Fischl is here is because she won't actually take Hyper Blooms from Kuki too often because Oz's targeting is quite random. And even if she does steal a couple of blooms, it isn't really that big of an issue as you can compensate by having quickened damage from Nahida and Fischl. Hence why the team is called Quick Bloom, because you are taking the best part about Quicken teams while also having Hyper Bloom procs alongside it. If you do have Yelan, you can also use her in place of Fischl, and while you don't basically get any Quicken uptime, the trade-off here is adding in Yelan's raw damage and the fact that no one else can trigger Dendro cores but Kuki. And now back to the character review, there is nothing wrong with Kuki. You literally can't fail a full EM build, so that's our full team fully geared. And the good thing about most Dendro teams is that they don't use Bennett. So if our first team is going to be a Dendro team, our second team is basically set in stone to be a Bennett team. I would have loved to use Hu Tao here, but because we have Jingcho in the first half, she's basically immediately rolled out. I am not playing non-vape Hu Tao. I also already decided on the fact that I will use a Bennett and Zhang Ling team, but I couldn't really find another duo to pair well with Bennett and Zhang Ling, that were built at least. My patient did mention the fact that they had a Triple Crowns Noelle, so you know what? It would be funny if we used a double Geo Noelle here, but surely we have other options. We had no other options, but to be honest, this isn't really as bad as it sounds. Noelle teams can actually be built like this. Her team archetypes are quite simple. You have Mono Geo with 4 Geo units that includes Goro and either Zhongli or Albedo, and then you have 3 Geo units which again includes Goro and ideally Zhongli or Albedo for the third slot. And if you go down to 2 Geo units and combine Noelle with another strong team core like Double Hydro, or in this case Bennett and Zhang Ling, you don't really want to bring Goro along as he doesn't get his 3 Geo teammate party bonus, which is why you have to replace him with another Geo character, which is preferably an Albedo or Geo main character. My patient has Albedo and he's the much easier character to pilot here, so I just went with him, and that'll be our second team. So let's look over the builds. Nothing to really change for Noelle at all. It is the unit they spend the most time on and everything seems good enough. Yeah, Bennett didn't really have a weapon as he was originally on Favonius that we robbed. So I decided to just give him an Alley Flash that I think my patient should level up as it's one of Bennett's better options as a 4-star. And then I saw the minuscule amount of energy on Bennett and yeah, we need to tweak the artifacts a bit. I am not going to question it. And yeah, that ER should be okay for this team. We are using Noelle, and because of the fact that we can swap to other characters during Noelle's burst, we can get out some skills during Noelle's uptime without it hurting the team's damage too much. And now albedo stats, and weapon seems fine. Okay. The rest of the husk pieces were actually on Noelle, and my patient just didn't have the facilities to build another good husk set. So I just decided to give albedo any strong pieces lying around with good crit stats and defense. And you know what? Nothing really changed. We gained a bit of defense and crit rate in exchange for a bit of crit damage. And now for Xiangling. I looked at the stats, and the first thing I needed to do was assert dominance and give Staff of Homa to the better pyro damage dealer. And we will be right back as I go search for good emblem pieces. Winnable. And now that both our teams are complete, let's go ahead with the clear. So, this was actually my first time using Nahida, but this team really doesn't have any complicated mechanics or techniques I really need to use. The floor is quite self-explanatory, it's just 12 little Rift Hounds and 2 big ones that spawn eventually. Hyper Bloom is quite single target oriented, but it does have a tiny bit of AoE, so if enemies are basically kissing each other, you may be able to hit 2 targets with 1 Hyper Bloom. The only thing you need to manage on this team is having uptime on everyone. Kuki and Jingcho are pretty obvious, you have visuals for their abilities. Fischl is slightly harder to see with the vomit of colors on the screen, but just remember to recast ults every 10 seconds or so and it should be fine. But yeah, it still cleared quite slow, but we are over the 1.5 minute mark, so it's still decent enough. Now onto the Noelle and Xiangling team. You know what? No, let's have a quick one-to-one. Whoever designed this piece of shit boss, I just need to have a few words. Not only does it have permanent electro on it, meaning you can only use the base electro reactions like overload, electrocharge, and superconduct. The boss will also just hover over your attacks and there is nothing you can do about it. And then when he's close to the ground, you're doing good damage, you're beating his ass, and zwoomp, he's gone, he vanished. And I'm using a PlayStation controller, it takes me years to turn around. And then he has these attacks that just do so much fucking. I slaughtered him. First try, no regrets, fuck this boss. Now moving on to floor 2 first half, I've seen a lot of people get annoyed by the Serpent Knights. You would think people fully decked up head to toe in armor would be quite heavy, but if you cough on them they end up flying to god knows where. But with Hyper Bloom, this team doesn't do that much poise damage, so you can keep them moderately close and the cores track them anyway, so it's fine. You know what, I don't know why people complain about these guys, they're actually quite easy. I forgot to cut that out. Anyways, yeah, Hyper Bloom does enough damage to them individually to where you don't need to keep them grouped. Now onto the second half, the damage you need for them is actually quite low. They only have like 600,000 health, and with how close they get to you, if you can break their shields while damaging them, which is what Xiangling does quite well, they drop like flies. Also, they drop a stupid amount of energy every time you pick them off, so you can just cycle through elemental bursts very frequently. I started the domain with little to no energy, but was able to get it back quicker than I should have. And I just want you guys to keep something in mind for the way I group the Electro here. With the Electro ones, I don't know what we did to them, but they are on full demon time, and will just football charge at you. But if you practically hug one, there's a chance they will just stay there while the other one dives on you, and they will both be in your face grouped. Also, the lower trolls do a lot of damage, so abusing burst iframes and Noelle's shield is what allowed me to damage them so freely. And in less than 30 seconds we were able to sweep both of them. And now for the last floor. I love how Genshin takes so long on console to load, to where I can just completely waste a Kuki elemental skill. Anyways, I just do Hyper Bloom things as always and wail on this fucker until he dies. Yeah, no. The main issue here is that it just takes way too long for stupid annoying stall boss number 654 to get up, so a lot of time gets wasted on the second half. But of course, me being me, I devised a plan. As you can see, normally it takes this bitch 10 seconds to just load in, but if you restart instantly the moment he spawns in, and then go to restart the floor, now we have saved 5 seconds. And you know what? I'll take it. 5 seconds is the difference between a clear or not, so it's worth it. And then I go to burst him down with Hyper Bloom, managing all my cooldowns and energy. Hashtag Favonius is broken. I don't know who this robot thought he was to be standing up to me, so I shot him down again and it was easy pickings from there. And now in the second half, because of how well optimized this game is on console, we can set up most of the deployables and start viciously swinging on the Eremites once they spawn in. The only really issue I ran in with the Noelle here is that you can tell my patient built Noelle around a Mono Geo team, because the energy Noelle had here to just be sustained by Albedo wasn't enough, even with the energy recharge card. But I hopefully would like to think they don't plan on maining this team regardless, so it isn't that bad. And with 12 seconds remaining, we cleared out this chamber. And that will be the end of the practical session. Overall, there wasn't really that many issues with this account. This Abyss lineup was just really unfavorable and shut down a lot of teams that could have been played. And now I'll just give some thoughts on what I think needs to be improved. Besides nitpicking, if they plan to use an on-field Nahida, she's honestly fine as she is. Just level up Mapamare. Now that we switched Jingcho to Favonius, he's honestly fine too. This is basically Tainari's set that I slapped on Fischl for her to be used. Please, give her something. Unless you go to pull Yolan, Fischl is the unit you're going to be using for Hyper Bloom, so it's worth the resources to farm a Thundering Fury set for her. You can also do that passively through Strongbox. Also, for who you're gonna give each sword to, as I said, give Jingcho Favonius, and you can either give Bennett Ali Flash or Sapwood Blade. Dendro MC can hold onto Sacrificial Sword for now, or you can give him Sapwood Blade. And because you also plan to use Layla, I would recommend just leaving Jingcho's Fav Sword at R3, and getting Layla's Fav Sword to R3 as well. And you can do what you will from there. For your bow characters, I would give Tignari Skyward Harp. Fischl would take... I would honestly say Venti's weapon isn't that important, just let him hold on to Fading Twilight for now, as having extra energy does help him out. I also think you should give Fischl Stringless for now, and I would refine it too, to be honest. And speaking of honesty, you have Nahida, Dendro MC and Tainari. As much as it pains me to say, you will literally never touch Kole, so give her whatever and refine your Favonius bow for Goro. Or you can also give it to Diona. For Albedo and Noelle, I think Noelle could use slightly more crit rate, and Albedo would appreciate a full artifact set. So I think you should farm Husk domains actually. Okay, I saw the ESO there, and I was wondering why he wasn't built until I looked at Goro constellations, and realized they were probably just pulling for Goro, and got Ito. And then before I was about to exit the screen, I realized one crucial thing. Build your Sucrose? What am I looking at? You literally have all the pieces for her. The fuck? You don't even need to touch talents, just level her up, please. She would help a lot with some Dendro teams like Yai Aggravate and Sucrose Hyper Bloom. And now the last thing I'll do is just give my patient some pull recommendations. My patient wants to get Scaramouche, so yeah, pull for him. You can use him on a team with Farazan, Layla and Jingcho and it will do pretty well. I would also recommend picking up Yolan or Kokomi as you don't really have that many Hydro options. I'm more leaning towards Yolan as she could help build double Hydro with Hu Tao, Hyper Bloom, and Scaramouche teams. And then surprisingly, with something I never thought would come out of my mouth, Zhongli would actually be a decent pickup for your account. If you do decide to get Yolan, you can build a double Hydro Hu Tao team with him as the last character. Zhongli can also be your last slot for Noelle Mono Geo, and he does help Scaramouche too, as Scara takes a lot of field time and is quite vulnerable. And if you ever want to use Tainari as a spread damage dealer, he can help you there as well. So the most important takeaways are farm Husk Domain, level up your Sucrose, level up your Ali Flash for Bennett, and Strongbox Thundering Fury for Fischl. And yeah, that's kind of it really. Overall, my first patient didn't need too much help, just some small things here and there that can help them out. And I don't think we'll really need another session in the future. And on that note, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, subscribe and comment what you guys thought about this new series, as I would love to hear it and I respond to almost every single comment. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys on the flip side. Peace.
low bitch, yeah, you know that I'm your man. You be capping like a snitch, no thoughts, no stand. 2 hoes, 10 toes, new guac in the bands. New whip, new chips, new kicks, Jackie Chan as she pay. Bad bitch, no bag, I just hit another lick and she be counting in my rest. I be feeling hella rich, no problem.